Hey everybody, Aaron here. Welcome back to another anime review. Today we look at a show called Kokoboshi Kageki, or High School Star Musical, or as it's actually easily referred to as Starmyu. Now, I understand. I understand the anime is typically copied a lot of times from one another, from one show that they believe something did something so well that they want to copy it. And we see this with a lot of shows. I mean, this is not. I'm not gonna start naming shows left and right, but there's a lot of shows that are just kind of carbon copies of each other. Maybe I'll give you the best example. Probably Attack on Titan and Kaminari. They're done by the same studio, obviously, but they're very similar in aspect and story wise. The problem with that is that at times you could see it from Attack on Titan to Kaminari. Kaminari didn't do as well because it faltered in a lot of places, and Attack on Titan really didn't falter in many places. In this case, I feel that Uta Pri was this kind of concept of where this came from. Because Uta Pri, the whole thing about the high school musical concept, they're becoming idol stars and stuff like that, and trying to, get there in the musical world and the, kind of also acting world at the same time. I understand that show did very well in Japan. Uta Pri is very, very well recognized in Japan. And for the most part, I've seen every single season of Uta Pri, which I don't know if it's a good thing or bad. But, I actually don't hate the show. I think it's an okay show. I enjoy the music for it. I enjoy the concept and story for it when it's done a certain way. I enjoy the comedy for it. I think it's a decent show. And I've given it praise before in the past. Starmyu, I've heard, is really bad. I heard that from several sources. And I was like, okay, but it sounds kind of like Uta Pri. I mean, I'm not gonna watch it because of that, because I've heard so much bad things about it. But I was like, you know what? I kind of challenged myself. I gave myself a challenge, and I was talking about this on Twitter. Like, I made it sound like someone else challenge, but I challenged myself more than anything else. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna watch all of Star Mew in one sitting. I want to see what everyone thinks this show is so bad, etc. I watched it, and I'll say this right now. It's to put it bluntly, it's bad. It's really bad. It's also putting it a nice way, actually. Ironically enough, it's bad, but you know, Starmyu tries to be Uta Pri in almost every sense of the word. And you just see that from the storyline where we have our main character, Yuta Hoshitoni, who is trying to become this, musical idol after he sees a guy dancing in the park one day and goes, I really love how he moves around, which is kind of weird, but okay. And then he goes and, joins a prestigious academy, which I think is called, I'll look it up while I'm doing this, but it's called Ayanagi Academy. That's why I couldn't think of the title for a second. But Ayanagi Academy is this place that's like essentially spawns out great idols and great actors, etc. And he ends up joining this group because they are known to make some of the best musical people, and he wants to do that. And of course, with any type of show like this, you're gonna meet several cast of characters that are using the kind of cliches and tropes that you've come to see in shows like this, where you have one guy who's stuck up until he realizes, oh, the world is not all surrounded by me. You have the guy who's like, woe is me, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And then you have also the other guys like, I'm shy, but at the same time, I do really great musical performances, right? This show really took that and went, let's run with it. Let's make some of the most cliche characters we've seen in these idol star musical places, and let's just do it again. It'll work, right? No, it really didn't. Um, to not put the comparison, I'm gonna throw the comparison stuff to the side. We'll talk about the concepts that are here that work in its favor. There's only a few, mind you, because most of the show sucks. But what does work in its favor is that the music's very good. I like the music for the show. It's hit or miss at times, yes, but for the most part, I enjoyed most of the songs. I really did. I liked the opening and closing. I liked a lot of the songs during this 12 episodes that aired. It wasn't all great. There was some really crap songs in there, and Uta Pri for the most part. When I actually listened to the songs for that, most all of them were great. So yeah, that's to be expected with this show. And at times the show's very colorful. It's got some humor to it. It's got some good humor to it. I like the concept. It's not a reverse harem, so you don't have all these dudes trying to hit on this girl, that really doesn't want to reciprocate their feelings, back. But at the same time, I think because that it's not there, the show kind of loses focus on what it wants to do with its characters. Like, the biggest issue is not with the main characters, but the side characters. Like, Yuta himself is this happy-go-lucky character the whole show. He's like, I can do it, we can do it as a group, come on guys, don't give up. There's nothing wrong with that, there are people like that in real life. The other cast of characters around him, though, are like one-trick ponies with how they act. They act a certain way up until a certain episode, and then it's like, oh, we need to stop doing that because now we have to be a boy band together. We have to, pull it together and become friends now. Okay, I mean that's fine, I guess, right? No, it's just weird. Like the best example I could think of is Nayuki. I think Nayuki is probably the worst character of the show. He's the character, by the way, from if you look at from the middle to the right of the screen. So he's the one with the shortest one really on screen. You know, Nayuki annoys the shit out of me because his first introduction is that he's supposed to be the shy character who doesn't know what he's gonna do. He gets stage fright really easily. They never explore that in the show. Never. 12 episodes, I'm never exploring that. Like, okay, I get, that could have been a good concept. Okay, he gets stage fright, so he's got to kind of pull together, become a little bit strong as a character. He doesn't. What he does, actually, ironically enough, is he has no issues performing on stage at all. Actually, one of the first episodes that they're all performing improv, he does a perfect job, even though he's supposed to have quote unquote stage fright. I'm like, what? How did you perform a perfect improv if you have stage fright? I don't. That's kind of destroy the purpose of that. Another character would be Tsukigami, which he is the perfect example. His name's Kaito, by the way, so I'm gonna give Kaito just the easier way of saying it. He's the guy to the left with the red hair. Kaito acts like a dick the whole episode. He calls people bores. Whole series, excuse me. He calls people bores. He calls people like, "Oh, you're not worthy of being in the same room as me." And then obviously, that's what you think he's gonna act like. You think he's gonna act like a dick the whole show, but obviously he's not gonna act like that because this show's like that. He, one episode in, essentially loses his cat and everyone goes and looks for his cat. He's like, "Oh my god, these guys are my friends, really?" Oh, okay. Star Mew, it's like anything else. It loses its purpose really fast, but it doesn't save itself. Like, it's typical for an anime show like this to kind of lose focus a little because it's always going to be what's the main focal here? Is it the idol? Is it the concept of the idols? Is it the struggle? What is it? That's why in many ways Uta Pri works because it has the center focus of the idols, obviously, but it then throws in that kind of cavette where it has the reverse harem elements to it, which actually help its story kind of refocus when it loses itself a little bit. I hope that comes out as like easy to explain to you guys, but it's like more so, it's the concept of a focal point. You have the thing where you look at everything else around in the room, and then you can go back to one thing to look at if you lose focus of where you have to start. It's almost easier to say that it's like the reset point for a story or anything because every story is supposed to have that embedded, especially when it has multiple characters because it lets you kind of realize, oh, okay, we're losing track here. Let's go back to what made the show the way it is. So in this case, like going back to the idol concepts, that's what the show does. At times, it tries to go back to the idol stuff, but the problem is that you notice that the idol stuff and everything else is not done well in this show. And it's not even just that, but the graphics aren't. The animation graphics for the show aren't that great. It's pretty weak for the most part. Starmyu really hits some weaker moments at times, and it's noticeable, very noticeable, in areas where all the characters are on screen. Like I use this image right here, and you can really point out that the character's design is not that great. Besides that, but you can also notice that the animation's kind of weak looking. It doesn't look like the characters are really well rendered, if that makes sense. But I don't know why that is because on screen, if they're individual characters, they for the most part have a lot of details to them. It's just when like everyone's on screen, it's like we can't do it. We've all of a sudden forgot how to draw these characters, and it's very noticeable during a lot of the stage performances with multiple characters. That's what I hate about the show. But individually, they look really well, and the show actually doesn't do that bad in terms of like how the characters actually move around and stuff like that. But when it's a lot of people, it's just weird. I don't understand why they had this problem. I don't actually, and off the top of my head, I actually don't know who did this in terms of what company was in charge of the animation for it. I can look that up right now, actually, while I'm talking to you guys with this. But apparently, it's called it's NBC Universal Entertainment Japan. Okay, that's even less of an excuse because I know that company has a lot of money to throw into this. But it's just that overall, I think what I'm trying to get out of Starmyu is that it's a carbon copy of Uta Pri in many ways, but the problem is that it's one of those copies that you notice like the pages got crinkled and the ink didn't hit the cartridge correctly, so it's not coming out on the paper like it's supposed to. That's the best way to put Starmyu because it's not a horrible show. It's not. My Mal rating for it's very low, yes, because I hate Mal's concept of if you put a 5 or 6, it's like, oh, that's great or it's good. No, it's not. I put it as a 4 on Mal because it's not good. It's bad. That's the best way to explain it. But if I'm giving you guys an actual grade, so an A through F, obviously, I'm gonna give this show a D minus. I'll pass it. I almost didn't want to pass it yesterday. I slept on it and I realized that there was some enjoyable stuff to it, and there was enough that it passes barely. But it's, like I said, barely passing. Now, since I reviewed Star Mew Season 1, I am going to review Star Mew Season 2 if you guys want. Most likely I'm going to do it anyways, but I'll tell you what I thought about that, because hopefully, hey, they've been, I think it's been like at least a year, so maybe they learned from some of their mistakes. Maybe they went, hey, let's get a new focus or something like that. We'll see. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the review. As always, if you do, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share the video, the whole nine. I will talk to you guys later. Until our paths cross again in the next review, have a great, blessed day, everyone. Bye-bye.